12 projects to build for 2024. I think it's a repeated advice. Okay, the best way to learn any technology is by building projects. In this video, I'll discuss few broad categories of projects. It won't be simple projects like an e-commerce website. It'll be projects that can, number one, give you some use case users on day zero. Number two, are good projects to open source. There is a high probability that these go viral on news.ycombinator.com or some other website like Reddit. If they do, you get a lot of stars on your GitHub, which is a useful metric to look for, especially when a recruiter is looking at your GitHub. Number three, if you're trying to learn a new technology, we will discuss real-time communication, machine learning, developer-related projects, and Web3. So any one of these, if they intrigue you, it's a good project to build. And lastly, generally, if you've thought of getting into coding, the best way to learn is not look at projects, but build them on your own in a very scrappy fashion and then slowly, incrementally make them better. Pick a project, go deep into it, tag me on Twitter when you've built it. Number one, a whiteboarding application similar to what you see on my screen right now. This website is Exceldraw. It's already open source, but it has a few parts. You can trim them down. Providing a link for an Exceldraw or your specific website where multiple people can come and share visuals is great. It'll teach you two things. Number one, how can you build, a draggable interface like this in most probably the canvas. I'm assuming this website uses the canvas under the hood. I could totally be wrong here. Yeah, it does. So what is the canvas API in the browsers? Why is it useful for use cases like these? This is one thing you will learn. The second thing you will learn is how do you sync a website like this across browsers, across devices. So you'll understand a little bit about socket programming. You'll understand a lot about front end, not related to React. This is like very specific canvas front ends that you learn about. So one good project to build, open source it, put it on Y Combinator, can almost guarantee it gives you, some traction on day zero. Personally, it is useful for me. I am building like a course selling website, and over there, if you've seen Unacademy's course selling websites, one of the good modes they have is they have video at the top right, and then you have a canvas here on the left, and it's having an interface like this is useful for multiple reasons. One of them being, piracy. So if you build this and if you can add some time feature here, if I am on this website and building a few things over a span of 2 hours, all of those can be recorded. That is a great thing for me to use in my website. So if you build this, tag me, especially if you build a time tracking thing. If I click on a start button here and start building a few things, and I can replay all of these events, very useful for me. If you build it, let me know. First project. Let's move on to the second one. Vimeo, but better. This is again a slightly selfish use case for me. It's very hard to do video at scale. If you go to YouTube and upload a video, there are 1,000 things that happen under the hood. The first thing that happens is something called video transcoding. The second thing that happens is something called subtitle generation. Third thing that happens is thumbnail generation. Fourth thing that happens is segments generation. And it would be good if someone can provide this as an API. What I mean by this is I can't really, upload a video on YouTube and put it on my private, let's say, webinar or private course selling website. I need someone to provide me some authentication constructs on top. So what you have to build is an API where someone can come, give you an MP4 URL. So that's going to be the input to your API. And the output is going to be, number one, a bunch of video URLs. Number two, subtitle URL. Can be VTT, thumbnail URL, and segments, basically dividing the video into segments. Maybe the actual output should just be a React component where you can just give like the ID of your video. If you build this React component and an API to upload an MP4 video, super useful, at least to me. What will you learn? Number one, video transcoding. Number two, a little bit of AI to convert speech to text. Number three, some generative AI to create thumbnails. Number four, segment generation, a little bit of AI there as well. Cool. All of this, a few people in my cohort have built. I'll link a project in the description which does the segment generation and subtitle generation in case you're interested in looking at it. Cool. That's number two. Number three, a real-time game. You can build any game. The one that I'm excited to see is poker. I don't know how many of you have seen this website, probably not a lot of people, but poker is one of those niches where you can, get rich very quickly. You can find rich people to use your website. This is a website that I recently saw. It's called cloudpokernight.com, which lets rich people in the US sort of create a private poker game. It has a little bit of, real-time communication. You have to maintain the game logic on a server. It has some video processing. So if you look at their poker table, it looks something like this. So people can actually view each other, and there is a real dealer. You don't have to have a real dealer. You can have a bot or I guess a bot or an algorithm that's distributing the cards. But at a high level, you need people to be able to look at each other and talk to each other, and you need a centralized poker logic that is able to distribute fake money to begin with. Don't get into real money at the moment. Don't try to build any of these as businesses. You can, but especially when you're building something like this, you have to be very careful about the legalities. Build it to learn something. Again, expose it as an API, and then someone else can use it to build their own poker game. Cool. The last real-time communication project I'm interested in is color theme generator. We'll give an example. This is the 100x Steps website. As you can see, there are a bunch of black colors, blue colors, white colors, light blue color, dark blue color. Every website is sort of built on top of these themes, and it would be nice if I have a dashboard for your website, the thing that you're building, colorsdashboard.com, where I can go and tweak these colors of mine, and they get tweaked automatically in real time. Not real time, even if I refresh, the colors come back, that's fine. But I'm able to tweak these colors from your website, the thing that you're building. For that, number one, you'll have to give me an API to fetch these colors, some Tailwind logic you can create, or like wrappers you can create that automatically inject the theme, and you'll have to create a dashboard where I can tweak these colors. You can give me suggestions for theme palettes, things like these, and you can also automatically try various versions and A/B test and tell the user this is the best color palette for your website. So something like this. I think this is a YC company in this specific batch. I've seen this project somewhere. This isn't an original idea, but I think it's a good idea to pursue. The things that you learn is, number one, how you can inject colors automatically into Tailwind, into Material UI. So it'll require some, high level logic for you to understand how to create UI library wrappers. And number two, again, this doesn't have to be real time. Like if I go here and tweak a color, shouldn't probably tweak directly here. But like understanding the standard full stack things of how you can store these colors in a database. Maybe the interesting thing here would be, how do you generate a bunch of palettes for the user to choose from? But at a high level, I think this can be used on day zero. As I said, someone's building it in the YC patch. If you've created for free, open source it, you can cut their market. I mean, I don't know if you will. If someone's building it as a business, they're doing 10 different things that you're not, but a great idea to pursue. Cool. Let's move on to the machine learning section. Project number 1, build something like Framer. It's basically a website generator. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of Webflow, but it's basically, these are like no code tools that let you build websites. But Framer is slightly different, very mildly different. What Framer does is, you can go here and give it a prompt and it will generate a website for you. Now, this is a very hard problem. What you have to do for this specific project is create 10 templates of websites. So you have like 10 pretty variations of websites that you can like find on a theme forest or create yourself. Then ask the user for a prompt. When the user gives you a prompt, your prompt goes to ChatGPT to just, for example, their prompt could be, give me a website for my newsletter. You go to ChatGPT, ask it for titles on various places of your theme. Your theme remains the same, your website remains the same. The titles and images throughout the page changes. And that's what you give as an output to the user. So it's technically an AI website generator, but under the hood, you have manually generated 10 to 20 templates. The user just comes and gives you a prompt. You change the content on top of those templates. That's where the AI bit comes from. And the other thing is just like the 20 templates that you had. This is the simple part. The difficult part is, once the user has generated this website, giving them a UI like this, like a no code UI where they can go and actually edit their website. This is very hard. So as you can see, this specific website was AI generated, but I can actually, change things here if I want. So this would again require a little bit of canvas logic. I feel this is a canvas. Even if you can create a simple website generator where AI is only being used to generate, for example, the content and the images, great. If you can give the user, if this will really become useful, if the user can actually, edit the text here, buttons here, move them around. If you can build that, even better, you can compete with a company like this. I think this is when you're, getting into the realms of taking the job of web developers. So you're one step ahead of wanting to become a web developer. You're trying to take their jobs. So super useful project to have in your resume. The second project in this library is an LLM aggregator. Today, there are a bunch of LLMs out there, a few open source, a few closed source. In the end, they all have their own set of APIs, providing a single interface to talk to any one of these. So create a library where you expose a bunch of endpoints and the user can hit those endpoints, get back responses, have like an HTTP layer, have a WebSocket layer for the user to talk to it. And under the hood, the user can specify the only parameter the user has to change is the model, and under the hood you send the request to the right models and convert their request to the model specific request. A few people are doing this. There's this project called Ollama that's very close to this, where you can bring models locally, run them. And even if you're not bringing a model locally, it's not open source, you can still talk to something like ChatGPT using a single HTTP interface. You don't have to create 5 different classes or functions to talk to each LLM out there. There are a few of these popping up already. A few smart people are trying to build it for you. The project is just to get it out there, and especially it's very easy to get stars on. Like everyone wants to look at what's being done in machine learning today. So if you build something like this, almost can guarantee on days you're getting at least some eyeballs on it, maybe some GitHub stars. Whether or not you want to pursue it depends on you, but a great project to build either way. Cool. Let's move on to the next section. I think we're done with 6 projects. 6 are left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There we go. The next one is a section I'm calling developer related. See, the thing is, if you're building projects, it's good if you can actually market them, or someone uses them. You build it right. If you know how someone is going to use them, and since we're all developers, we're more active in this community. If you build projects that are useful to developers, it's easy for you to market them. So the projects are in this section will be very relatable, especially if you're on this channel. Let's get into the first one. A GSOC issue tracker, a place where you can track what all organizations have come in GSOC. You can filter them out. This organization came in 2020, 2021, 2022. Look at the current open issues in there. I think especially at this time in the next 2 to 3 months is going to be a super useful website for people just come find an issue and work on it. The more detail you can add here, the better. But at the very least, try to have a bunch of organizations. Let the users filter the organizations based on tech stacks. Let the users see what all years this organization came in. And if possible, try to scrape the currently open issues that are not assigned to anyone and let the users see them in a single centralized place. Cool. Number 2, a more structured LeetCode. Beautiful idea. A beautiful idea for 1,000 reasons. Today, the thing that's missing on the internet is structure. There's a lot of content. No one knows where to go. There's a long list on LeetCode called 75 blind. That's basically 75 LeetCode questions that are very disjoint. And if you do those 75, you can say you're pretty much good for an interview. Try to bring them in-house, or maybe a different version. Create your own list. Either way, create a very structured list of LeetCode problems, a platform where someone can come, look at the problem, solve it, and then move on to the next one. If they do those 30, 60, 90, however problems that might be, they're good to go into an interview. Provide a structured LeetCode versus a place where there are 1,000 problems and you don't know what to learn from. This is one of those ideas that I feel can actually be monetized well, because when people have an interview, they will really pay for a structured place to learn everything they need for that specific interview. Cool. Third idea here, a blind-like app for college students. How many of you have heard of Blind? It's basically an app where people can sign up using their official email. So they're at the rate of Google email, at the rate of Meta email. That's how the platform knows that they're actually an employee at Google or Meta. But they're given anonymous identities. So you never know who the person is, but you can see that they actually work at Google. This way, people can anonymously talk to each other and share experiences about their workplace. Create a similar version for college students. Okay? This will be a closed community where people can talk to each other, people can post and answer questions, where people will be verified based on their college emails. So only college students can get in. You can actually see that this person is actually part of this college, and they can talk anonymously. You can also put things like this person has taken a certain course, so they can anonymously give reviews of this course was good or bad without being worried about defamation cases. So an app like this will give you an idea of how mobile apps are built end to end. Number 2, I think there's a gap here. I think there's a need for an app like this where people can talk more freely about their problems and pirate courses. Don't do that. But at a high level, I feel an app like this can be marketed easily and good thing to have on your GitHub. Cool. Last set of projects. I think we're done with 9. We need 3 more. I have 4. 4 Web3 projects that you can build. Number 1, Airdrop Tracker. So one very common thing that happens at least that's happening right now is, you get airdrops in Solana or like any other blockchain. So you really need a centralized place where you can see, this specific token was airdropped to me. For example, if I go to there are like multiple websites that already let you do it. So I'm not saying there's like a gap here, but it'll be good for you to learn how to do this yourself. And under the hood, what's happening is you're just hitting a bunch of APIs trying to find where this person might, have some money. So there are already a bunch of websites that let you do this. One such website is Asset Dash. So as you can see, there's an airdrop section and I can see all the airdrops that I'm about to receive based on my wallets. So as you can see, it says this wallet is going to receive 3200 Jupiter, the same for the other one. Creating a place like this where you're actively tracking airdrops and letting users look at a centralized place for it. People actually pay for this. There's a Ethereum version of this that makes around $70,000 a month or a year. I totally forgot. But like these are basically HNIs that you're targeting who don't have the time to track how much airdrop they're receiving. But if you miss out on an airdrop, you basically lose this money. This, for example, could be like a lot of money based on the token prices. Probably is at least $1,000 to $2,000. And if I did not know within the cutoff, I was airdropped these, it could be a lot of money lost for me. So letting people put their wallet addresses in a place and notifying them you have received an airdrop is, I think, a super useful business to build generally. Cross-chain portfolio tracker. This also like Asset Dash is that only. If you go to the portfolio section here, which I won't, but you can actually put a bunch of wallets here and actually track your portfolio, how much ETH you have, how much money you have based on NFTs. Very hard to build. One, the number of blockchain integrations that you have to do here, there are like 1,000 blockchains today. And number 2, blockchains are hard to index. If you can build that, that's great. Even if you want to build a subset of this, try to index a blockchain. Try to create a place where someone can come and just track a single address on a single blockchain. For this itself, the best way to do it is that you actually start indexing the blockchain, which means you take the blockchain and create a centralized MySQL database for it, at least for these addresses that you're interested in. So this will teach you how to create an indexer, which is a lot of businesses need that. And as you try to build a Web3 startup company, whatever, this will be a problem that you'll be faced with. A lot of people don't do it in-house and outsource it, but if you can do it in-house for them, it's a good like consulting business to build as well. So high level, what do you have to build? A portfolio tracker. Even if you don't want to build the whole thing, build a blockchain indexer that, given a few addresses, it can, listen to all the transactions that are happening on those addresses. Cool. Number 3. This one's interesting. A Paytm box, but for blockchain. I will actually be releasing a video very soon on this, but high level. So this I'm building for sure. And if someone wants to collaborate, let me know. What is the problem with blockchains? Lack of trust. You cannot go to your Kiriana shop and tell them, okay, let me pay you in Ethereum or Solana. I'm not saying there is good PMF here. Like no one is using blockchains, at least in India. But there are like crypto events where this can be, at least you can try to adopt it, where you create a Paytm box like thing. People can come scan and, pay via crypto using any wallet. And the box actually buzzes by the end. I've received 5 USDT. This can create like some adoption in crypto, if at all. Again, I don't think this is enough to create crypto adoption, but I feel this is one of those projects that, is great to pitch out in hackathons and win a lot of money. I think this can be a good hackathon project, if not something you want to pursue, indefinitely. But this is something I'm personally excited about. I'll build it. Here also, you will have to understand how to index blockchains because, whenever someone pays on a specific address, you want the sound box to buzz. So the sound box needs to listen to the blockchain, or, something else needs to listen to the blockchain and eventually tell the sound box, play a specific sound. So super interesting project to build. You will guaranteed, if you take this out in a hackathon, you will win some money. If you pitch it right, you'll win a lot of money. I will most probably not pursue this as an idea or like even something I built at a hackathon, but I'll build it once to show you how you can actually build something like this yourself. Cool. Lastly, a blockchain payment gateway. We have great payment gateways out there. Razorpay is a great one. There are a bunch of others. There is one problem. Sometimes you cannot accept INR payments because, people are in weird places or people want to stay anonymous. This happens for my course as well. Around 2%, 1% of the payments happen via crypto. So for that reason, the problem with that is like currently, if you want to buy my course via crypto, this is how the flow goes. You go to the website, you say you want to buy, There's a button that says pay via crypto that takes you to a doc. You go into this doc, you find an address here. You pay that amount to this address and then you mail us and then we manually add you. This is like super unoptimal, takes a lot of, human intervention. So you have to build a payment gateway. Basically, Razorpay lets you, do something like this. Whenever you click on buy now here, the transaction happens via Razorpay. Do the same thing. Okay. I get a centralized dashboard where I can see all of my incoming transactions. I can create webhooks so that people can automatically get added to the course anytime they pay for it. And the platform can take some fee. I don't think it will be as high as 2% what Razorpay charges, but it will be like some 0.1% because there's no real big moat of this business. Razorpay has a big moat, banking APIs. This guy does not. But still, it's been almost 2 cohorts now. I haven't built this. I'm still going through this unoptimal route. So that tells you, okay, there is a gap to fill here. People might not be open to paying 2% because, anyone can build this. It's hard to build a banking payment gateway that's actually connected to a bank, something like Razorpay. It's much easier to build this. But still, if someone charges me like 0.5%, maybe 0.25%, I will pay them happily. If they've built a centralized place for me to track all the crypto payments and most importantly, they automatically hit my CMS API, so users automatically get added rather than them having to mail me and then me adding them 2 days later. That creates a bad experience. This is also like a solid business idea to pursue, but like pick and choose. The hard thing here, the thing to learn here is like creating a payment gateway. And the reason I say build a crypto payment gateway is because you can, get it up and running on day 0 versus if you go out there and try to build a real payment gateway, you have to have some like a lot of money in the bank, 2 banks have to be on your side, 3 legal compliances, 4 security. So you have to keep a bunch of things in mind. This is much easier to build. Cool. Those were 13 ideas for you to pursue. Tell me what's the best one you want me to build. The one that's posted in the comments below, that is most upvoted, I will come on the channel or like create a video for it and we'll try to build it together. I'll show you how I would build a project like this, how I would extract my learnings from it, how I would open source it. And then I'll urge you guys to start it so that, I have another good project on my GitHub to show. Cool. That's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye and happy 2024.